All right, there we go.
Okay. A strong gust of wind brings a new year with hopes, resolutions, and plans. And to get to the storms of tossing seas, we need the shipmaster, John Limbacher.
All right. What a kickoff to the last call of the year here.
Mhm.
I don't know. Hopefully you guys had a good year. I know I had a great year in a lot of different ways. Not so much. I leaned a lot more on recreation this year than business, but still got by. Still did all right. And looking to shift gears back the other direction now in 2022. So we get back with the program. Still going to have a lot of fun though. Gonna work the fun into the business. So anybody got anything you want to start up with here? Any pressing questions, issues, things you're looking forward to in 2022?
You probably have already answered this, but it's like, if I was to build my own Kartra site, emulating you, could I ask you for some of your funnels for Kartra?
Oh, yeah.
Would there be a small fee for that or whatever?
No, absolutely. I have several of the things that I've already done, templates.
Okay.
And those templates, we can just transfer them right into your Kartra account. That's not a problem at all.
Cool. Then I will definitely be hitting you up later for that.
Yeah, Kartra is awesome. I mean, anybody that is trying to run an online business and doesn't have it is really kind of handicapping yourself, unless you've got something else. You know, there are other programs out there, not to say that you have to run your business on Kartra. But if you don't have something of that nature and you're trying to run an online business and you don't have something to automate your billing, you don't have something to automate your follow-ups, you don't have a way to capture leads, all of that stuff, you really are handicapped. And one of the things I get, and this kind of blows my mind, business takes money to run. I mean, back when I started in business, you know, you had to open up a shop and you had to rent a building and you had to set up phone lines, and it was expensive. I mean, your overhead to the barrier of entry into business was like, it wasn't for everybody, because you had to have capital just to start even a small business, even if you're going to do a home-based business. So it's still stuff that you needed to run that business. And now it's like, you know, the internet has come along and given people the idea that you can run a business with no overhead. And that's just not true. I mean, it would be like you trying to run a business 20 years ago without getting a phone number, without getting a place to do your business. It's not feasible. You've got to have certain things to run a business. And I got to tell you, when I look at the way you can run a business today, like the way I run my business, for instance, I don't need an office. I don't need, you know, all this other stuff that I used to need. All I need really is my Kartra account. And I'm on the silver level. I pay $199 a month for the silver level. And, you know, I'm on there because it gives me the free video hosting, which if I were to pay for that on any other platform, I'd be paying at least $199 a month that I'm paying to Kartra. Mm-hmm. And it gives me unlimited, as much as I want. You know,
John, is that free video hosting like paying for Vimeo or something else?
Yeah, if you were to pay for Vimeo to host your videos and not have the ads and all that stuff, it, you know, or even if you're on Amazon, you know, or if you're on Amazon servers, you pay for the bandwidth. So it's kind of like a trickle feed. You pay as you go. I forget the name of the one, Wistia. I was on Wistia before, and Wistia, you know, they bring it on as much as you want for, I don't know, I think it was $49 a month or something, or $79, something like that. But then all of a sudden, when I got 25 videos in there, which isn't very much, they came through and they said, oh, well, now you have to pay per video to add more than 25. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to add up quick. So by the time I switched from Wistia and pushed all those videos over into Kartra, I was paying more than $200 a month for my Wistia account. And then they started charging me by views too, because I was over the limit on views, which they originally said, it's all you want, but it wasn't all you wanted. And the first time I actually made that mistake was when I put a replay up. I did a live webinar and I put the replay up on Wistia. And then I sent, hundreds of people through watching an hour and a half video. And then I got the bill for it. And I'm like, holy shit, you got to be kidding me. It was like a year's worth of Kartra. So
Wow.
I said, heck with that. But the whole point to this is you can run a business now.
So John,
virtually
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But you're talking about Wistia versus Kartra video hosting. Is there a bandwidth or views limit on Kartra?
There is on the starter plan. On the starter plan, you can only have so many videos and you can only have so many views. But on the silver plan that I'm on, they charge you an extra $100 a month, so it's $199 instead of $99. And then it's truly unlimited. I have not hit any snags with that. I've got a boatload of videos up there. And here's something that I do also that people have questioned me about, and they don't quite know my motives behind it, is why I put these videos onto YouTube. And they think that I should put them into Kartra and keep them completely private, hidden. And, by all rights in nature, yes, you're correct. But the reason that I put them out onto YouTube is so other people that don't know about this group can find it. And you'll also notice, like when I give you guys stuff, I give it to you in the members area, so those people can't get it. Like when we did the year-end thing and I put that up in the members area for you guys, that's why I did it that way. So other people would say, man, I need to be part of that group. And then they'll come and they'll sign up. So it's kind of like a bait and switch type thing. If I didn't do that, and I'm surprised actually how many people wind up finding it on YouTube and then joining the group, stuff like that. And it's funny because it's like it's a different group of people. It's like I've got people in the group. The group is much bigger than what you see here on Zoom. This group has hundreds of people in it. And on any given day, we might have 20 or 30. Like today, we've got 16 on right now. That's probably somewhat average. I might have, upwards of 30 on certain calls. But there's a lot of people that don't participate in the Zoom for some reason. A lot of them, and this blows my mind, that they want to operate anonymously. And I'm like, that's okay. Like SEO guys, a lot of the SEO guys I know, they're really private, they're really protective. Like they would never get on an open Zoom call because they don't want you to know who they are. They're all freaked out about it. And it's like, okay, whatever. So I've got only info for them. They do that. And then, they might put a support ticket in if they had a question or something. And, perfectly fine. There's, so there's a lot of different groups. I know you guys are more of the social group. You like to meet, you like the face-to-face, and that's awesome. So we can get on here and have fun, chew the fat, and, talk about whatever you want. But the whole idea is, you're creating a large community, and understand, like, there's a lot of different avatars in your community. You have to connect and communicate with them in different ways. So, this is the way for everybody that loves Zoom and, loves to be face-to-face and all that. And it's awesome. It's cool stuff. I've got, I'm going to start doing a lot more boat activities in the coming year. Like people that want to come and do little masterminds on the boat, which are really cool. Even if we don't leave the dock, it's just a cool experience. It's a different environment, different atmosphere, and free flowing ideas. For some reason, they flow better in different environments. That's why they do immersion seminars and they take you to different spots, and that's why it's done that way. So anyway, that's kind of some of the things that I'm going to be doing and some of the reasons why I do some of the things I do. Also, here's another thing that I do. A lot of times when you have a membership, you'll have a bunch of people that are expired because credit cards are continuously expiring. And a lot of times people just forget, it's just an oversight. It's not like they didn't want to be in the group. It's not like they wanted to cancel out. But when you have an automated billing system, the billing system will try like 3 times and then it will just cancel them because it doesn't want to keep, hitting a dead card. So 3 times and it's out. It doesn't mean that that's a bad person. It doesn't mean that they didn't want to be part of your group. It just means they got a lot of stuff going on. You should have a follow-up sequence to reach out, help them or reoffer them. And some of them, quite honestly, don't even know. They don't even watch the stuff. They don't keep track. So what I do with those, and this is kind of a strategy thing, I will change the login or I'll change the links. And occasionally I'll send out an email. I know you guys have probably seen these in the past that I don't put the link in the email. And I put in there, there's a special event. I put a real good teaser in there that everybody's going to want to see. They're not going to want to miss out on it. And I'll put in there's a special link for it. It's in the members area. And then they go and they try and log in and they realize their account is deactivated because their credit card expired. And I tell them, I put right in there, if your card's expired, no big deal. Just, use this link and reactivate. And I get a bunch of signups every time I do that. So it's just a strategy type thing. So if you're going to create membership sites, this is just some of the stuff that you'll need to know. Otherwise, you'll have more attrition than you need to. So,
John, I got a mystery for you.
Okay.
I didn't join the Zoom call. I just automatically got a message from John talking to me. I know what the heck was going on. I was on a Telegram call, and all of a sudden I'm in the Zoom, and I have no idea how it happened.
Really? That's interesting.
So it'd be kind of neat if you could figure out how to duplicate that.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know more about that. How that happened. What were you in again?
Well, I was talking to somebody on Telegram, and they called me, and then all of a sudden, and then it was over. And as soon as that call ended, Josh started talking to me, and I didn't have an idea who he was or where it was coming from. But I was connected to Zoom. And
that's interesting. I have no idea.
it may be, I might have got logged in automatically by a calendar. That's the only thing I could think of that might have happened.
Yeah, it could be. Well, one of the things too, I'm super lazy. I mean, I'm just like a flaw lazy. You guys should know that by now. So I don't use the fancy Zoom links. I just have it set up where, all of my meetings are in the same room. So it's one address and I've got a redirect for it, the internetdominators.com/Zoom. So I just do that by default. And then every once in a while, I'll change it, I'll change it just so anybody that shouldn't be in there, doesn't get in anymore. But again, I haven't done that for probably well over a year, probably 2 years. So, and it could also be a flaw in Zoom itself. Zoom had some security issues with it. That's why, a lot of people don't recommend you do anything sensitive over Zoom because of that. Who knows, who's watching on here. Like, you don't want to pass credit card information across Zoom. You want to do that on a private call or, some other means that's a little more secure. But Zoom, I don't know. Did any of you guys invest in Zoom last year when it really took off? I know I mean, it took off. It took off like a rocket, and then it kind of plateaued, and now it's going downhill. I got out just at the right time. I did pretty well on it as far as
Of course you
stock.
did. Damn you. Rather bless you.
But it's really tanking. And, I subscribe to a lot of different newsletters from, financial, all these weird guys that do all this funky research, and they make predictions, and, some of them are pretty wild. But it was funny. Just yesterday, I got a message from one of them that said, dump Zoom. It's going going down the hill. And I'm like, yeah, I dumped it months ago before it went down the hill. But they're thinking that its future doesn't look very bright. And another one that I got into about the same time as Zoom was Team, and that's Microsoft's version. You don't hear much about it, but it's integrated into a ton of different stuff where Zoom is not, and it's still taken off. It's probably one of the best stock picks I've had. Doesn't mean that you want to jump into it now, because it's already high. I may have already gotten the flight out of it. So I don't know. It might be time to jump off the ship. But anyway, so that's just, I'm into a lot of stuff. Anything related to business, anything related to making money, I've got my eyes on. So, there's other stuff I can help you guys with outside of this, anything to do with business. I've been in manufacturing. I know the ropes in a lot of different categories. So whatever you're thinking, I've probably done it or been somewhat involved in it somewhere along the line.
Hey, John, I've got a question on something that is in our realm. Could you walk us through an ad campaign for a solo ad?
Okay. And a solo ad, again, it's just an email. So your most important thing with that is going to be your subject line.
Okay.
And where I always start out, I don't care what kind of campaign it is. If it has to do with marketing or an ad, I start with a big idea.
Okay.
The big idea is going to flood right into your subject line. And it's like, if you don't have a big idea when you start creating ads, you're probably going to struggle. Like if you just start throwing subject lines out without having a big idea, it's like flinging spaghetti against the wall. It's not going to stick. It's going to look good. It'll make you some weird art. Allie might like it, but it's eventually going to fall on the floor, just like your ad performance is going to do. So it's strategic. Anything with marketing, it's absolutely strategic, and it needs to be engineered from the ground up. And I've been giving you guys the formula for years. It's exact. It really is. There's no other way to get around it. If you skimp on the process, you will pay the price. There's no other way. I wish there was an easy way to do it. It looks easy for some people because they're so in tune with all that, and they've been doing it for so long that it comes second nature to them. And that's my hopes, that you guys will come to that plateau and the stuff will get a lot easier. But number one is the big idea. It all starts there, because it's attention grab. That's your first piece of any marketing campaign, is if you can't grab attention, you can't get them into the phone. So,
Okay, the subject line is important, but what about the body? What about, the things that go into the sequence?
Okay, so the way you treat the body in a solo ad, you have to look at it for what it is. It's your first initial lead magnet. So you don't want a big ask. You don't want a big thing. You want a small micro commitment. I haven't talked about this for a long time, so I'm gonna hit this one again because it's really important. Micro commitments are super important when you're starting a relationship. It's just like dating. And I've used this example in the past. Excuse me. But it's like when you ask too much too soon, you get denied. So it's very much like dating. You wouldn't meet a girl and you wouldn't propose to her on the first date, right? She'd probably think you were a freak, or 1 in a million will say yes and off you go. You don't want 1 in a million when you're paying for ads, okay? You want high conversion. So you engineer the process. If you want to marry this girl, you engineer the process. You start slow, you build a relationship, and it'll last forever. Very much like with a client. And again, the killer to this is asking for too much too fast. It starts with an opt-in. If you have an opt-in box that starts asking, like let's say you've got your first initial call to action, and they can see the opt-in box, and they see they have to put their name, their email, and whatever to get this thing. All of a sudden, that's no longer a micro commitment. That is a complex situation. They're having to make multiple decisions. They're like, do I want the thing? Yeah. Do I want to put my name in? Do I want to reveal my identity? Well, yeah, maybe not. Do I want this person to have my email address? See, that's multiple decisions. It might seem stupid. It might seem ridiculous, but I guarantee you it's absolutely true. The more you can make micro commitments, the more you can lead the horse to water. If the only thing they have to decide is if they want the free thing, that's an easy yes. Once you get the easy yes, the next thing is, where should I send it? Now they're telling you where to send it. You're creating a relationship. And this in the dating world is equated to meeting a girl for the first time and saying, hey, can I pick you up at 8, take you out to dinner? It's not just a yes, I want to go to dinner. It's, do I want this guy to know where I live? Do I want this guy? Do I want to get in his car and be held captive until he decides he wants to bring me home? And do I want to go to dinner? You just complicated the situation. You made a complex opt-in, and she's probably going to say no. It's the same damn thing, I guarantee you. If you went about it of, hey, I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you. Do you want to meet me at Starbucks tomorrow at noon? She'll say hell yeah to that all day long because it's on her terms. She's going to make herself get there. She's going to leave whenever she wants to. You don't know where she lives. Just a simple thing. Hey, you want to have a cup of coffee on common ground with people around? Safe. Remember, women are about security. So it so relates to the real world. It's uncanny. And if you're doing shit that doesn't work in the real world, it's not going to work online either. I've said that over and over and over. So you've got to engineer this stuff. So with your solo ad, it's the same thing. It's a small ask. It's, hey, I've got this really cool thing. I'd love to share it with you. Click the link. That's really it. It should not be a long, complicated thing. It's a first step in a relationship. Offer a lot, don't ask for a lot. Get the ball rolling. Increase your opt-ins. And then once they get there, show them how cool it is. They'll get on your landing page. And now you can expose the entire big idea to them. You can expose and this goes back to Frank Kern. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. I want you to download it. Click here to get this item now. Again, micro commitment. They don't see they have to put their name and email address in. Just click here to download it now. Now you've told them to do something. They're taking the action. They're committed now. They've made the first step of commitment that they're going to interact with you. but they haven't had to make the decision if they wanted to give you their identity or their email address. They're just click here to get the free thing. And now you're taking this into a different attitude of where should I send it? Now you're being helpful. You're not prying. I know you want it. Where should I send it? How do I get this to you? Now you're creating a relationship. If you start your opt-ins that way, your conversion will be much higher, meaning your ad cost is going to be much lower. That's what we want. I mean, we want to spend as much in ad spend as possible, but we want to get as much out of it as possible as well. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, once you get that, once you get the email address, then give me an idea of where you go from there.
You over deliver. You
Okay.
over deliver as much as possible. Give them the free thing that you offered them, and then offer them something more. Like, for instance, the way I would do it is I would give them the free report or the free 3 things or whatever it is. Let's just call it the free 3 things. We'll relate it to the ACT program. Here's the 3 things that you need to know to be successful in 2022 with your business. It's 3 simple things that you can do, anybody can do, and I'll show you how to do it. Get the free pamphlet. Now they get it, they download it. And I say, hey, I'd really like to take this a step further since you've expressed that you really want to do well in 2022. How about if I offer you a free masterclass where I show you, I walk you through these 3 things, take all the mystery out of it so you know exactly how to put these to work in your business. So it'll almost guarantee your success. Could I give that to you for free? Free masterclass. Now, during the masterclass, I'm building the value of the ACT program. I'm spending an hour and a half with you, honestly walking you through the steps. Now, you guys know damn good and well nobody's going to be able to do it, right? They're gonna want the whole process, and they're going to need this support along the way to make it happen. So that's where my offer comes in. That's where I build the value in the membership, the value in getting access to all the blueprints, all the videos, all the step-by-step. I just spent an hour with you. You really need, to become a master at anything, you need, hundreds of hours to become a master at something. If you really want to master your business and freedom means something to you, and you really don't want to go back to a day job, you're going to need to do this. I've taken you this far. I'm willing to go the rest of the way with you. You want to come along for the ride? It's super simple. Just sign up here. The process is already there. I'm the guy to take you through it. I'm going to be here with you every step of the way. That's the way I would do it. That's the way I would create that funnel. And you build the value of the offer. You eliminate any objections, like a price objection. You want to eliminate that. You want to eliminate the what if it doesn't work objection, because everybody has that. So you need a money back guarantee. That's called a risk reversal. Hey,
John, can you walk through how you handle a price objection, just to give us an idea of verbiage?
It depends on what the price objection is and who it relates to. Like, for instance, I had a woman at a live event come up to me, and her price objection was her husband was going to come unglued if she spent another dime. And the program was $497. That was my offer. So she told me, I would love to have this, but I can't. My husband will kill me if I spend any more money on my business. And I turned that around in a question to her, and I said, well, would your husband be upset if you made enough money next year to take him on a 5-star vacation? And she said, well, no. And I said, well, how else do you think you're going to do it other than getting this right? And she signed up. Just like that. Her objection was just an unknown. She had a fear of failure. So what I did was I reversed it. I used that 3-dimensional I 3-dimensionalized the benefit of the program. She was going to make enough money to take her husband on vacation. And all of a sudden that fear disappeared. It was gone. She didn't give a rat's ass about what her husband was going to say. She was going to do this thing. She was going to prove him wrong and make that money. So it just depends on the situation of why the objection is there. And if you just ask, that was a real life situation. I had her in front of me. I had the ability to ask. I got that opportunity. When you're doing an online funnel and you're not face to face and you're just running a bunch of people through your funnel like cattle, you're going to have to figure out what those are. So one way to do that is before you do your evergreen, you do a live webinar and you do the Q&A at the end. That's where you get that opportunity to ask. Say, hey, if there's anything that's holding you back, please let me know so I can address that. And you'd be surprised, they'll come right out and they'll tell you why. It's almost like they want to be let off the hook. they want to say it so they can go away and go back to their life and not feel guilty. So it's interesting. People are very interesting. I've learned a lot about working with people, and that's kind of interesting because I started out, I didn't really like talking to people. Believe it or not, I was like, I didn't mind one-on-one or a couple people, but I was not the kind to get up on a stage and do a presentation in front of a bunch of eyeballs. And luckily I got over that, and I have learned a tremendous amount from the more people that I communicate with, the more about what makes just people in general tick and the similarities. There's a lot of commonality. We're all built out of the same stuff. We all operate on the same premise. It's just our experiences, what we've learned along the way, how we've interpreted things. And some people are just more timid. There's, some people you have to walk on eggshells with. Some people need to be slapped around. Some people you need to really, it's just their personality. Like New Yorkers, if you're dealing with a New Yorker and you pussyfoot around, they're going to think that's what you are, a pussyfoot. So knowing your audience, knowing your avatar, knowing everything about them, I cannot stress the importance of that enough. And the hardest thing that you'll do is try and anticipate a large group. A large, diverse group in front of you. And you kind of got to walk that middle of the road. And that's the hardest part of all. It's like, and the results show. And you can get good results because of numbers. Like a perfect example of that is Glacier Kennedy. If you look at Glacier Kennedy, they had 2,000 people in the room. So I had 4,000 eyeballs on me. And I sold 72 units, I believe, at $2,000 a pop. And if you look at the numbers, that's a pretty crappy ratio compared to other things I've done. So let's say it was, so how I do this in my head really simply is I take it down to the 100 numbers. So instead of 2,000, I cut that in half. I say, okay, 1,000 people. And then I take the sales, and it was 72. Let's round it to 70 to make it simple. Half of that is 35. So 35 out of 1,000, that's 3.5%. That was my conversion ratio. It's not very good. That's only 3.5 out of 100. Now I took the exact same presentation 2 weeks later or something like that. Within a couple of weeks, I took it to Denver, Colorado, to the American Dental Association. I swapped out 2 slides, made them specific to dentists. The rest of the presentation was exactly identical. I changed what I said to them I geared everything to them, everything to the dentists. And I sold, I think it was 42% conversion instead of 3.5%. So if you know who you're speaking to and you can tailor it to them, your results are going to show. When you do a solo ad, talk to the guy that's got the list. Find out everything you can find out about his people and work with him to craft an offer that's going to convert. The more you know about who you're talking to, the higher you can convert just by changing a couple of things. I mean, it might be just as simple as one word. Like in the Glazier Kennedy, I talked about clients. In the dentists, I talked about patients. They don't want clients, they want patients. That's their word. That's their language. So you just have to tune in and speak their language, and you will get rewarded highly for it. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's the whole ACT program. It's the whole premise of the entire thing, is figure out who you're talking to, what's important to them, what language do they speak, how do they feel, and craft an offer. You become a chameleon. You know, being a marketer is being a chameleon. You have to blend in. You have to be one of them. Nobody wants to buy anything from somebody they don't relate to. Like if you're a shy guy and you have a bully trying to sell you something, you equate him to the bully in high school that you hated with every inch of your fabric. As an adult, are you going to buy something from that guy? Hell no, you're not going to buy anything. You're going to burn up his time, waste his time, and send him out frustrated and laugh after you close the door. Right? That's your revenge. And again, this is people. This is how people operate. It's, you know, it's sometimes humorous. It's sometimes sad, but it's the reality of the situation. So if the bully just changed his attitude and became someone else, chameleoned in, you might buy from him. You might say, oh, wow, you know, this guy, you know, he's a big guy. He looks like the bully, but he doesn't act like the bully. He's a nice guy. You relate to him, you'll buy something from him. It's just that simple, yet incredibly hard to implement. So, but the more you know, the more you follow the steps of the program, the easier this will all become. It almost just becomes self-evident. You know, it's like you chameleon. We do this ourselves on vacation. Like, how many of you have gone to the South and you come home after a week and you're speaking with a drawl? Just after a week of the immersion. I mean, I used to go, you know, I used to spend a lot of time in Mexico. I'd go down there to go fishing. I didn't speak a lick of Spanish, but I'd come home hablan a little Espanol just because of the immersion in the experience. It's like you have to blend in. You want to blend in. We want to blend in. So we don't want to get dropped in a bucket of people that are not like us. It makes us crawl out of our skin. So, you know, again, if you're trying to make sales, you have to take that to heart. You can't push people. You can't force people into something they don't want. It just won't work. Your conversions will suck and your ads will be really expensive. Yeah, Ellie, you had a question, or you're muted there.
Oh dear. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that crypto that has to do with selling art. Do you know, can you tell me the name of the letters and how I could research more of that? Or if you know about more of it? I
believe it's NFT. I don't know anything about it other than the broad strokes. Mm-hmm. It has something to do with digital assets, like turning art into these NFTs.
Mm,
I'll be totally honest. I have not got my head wrapped around it yet.
okay.
It's kind of like the closest thing I can equate it to so far is like trading or collecting baseball cards. You've got this card, you hold it, it's your asset, and because of something, it makes it expensive. Like maybe there was only so many of them. So this card now, after 20 years, is worth $1 million. And you've probably got the only one in the country. Now all you have to do is find somebody that'll give you $1 million for it, and you're set. So it's like,
Hey, I'd be happy with $500,000.
with anything, this goes with anything. People always ask me, what's that worth?
Yeah.
Whenever they see something, what's that worth? I'm like, it's only worth what someone will pay you for it. Like,
I think you could set it up so that you could sell it, and then sell to somebody and get a percentage of whatever anyone else gets when they resell it. So you could have a 10% commission on every time it's resold.
okay.
Oh,
That'd go
that's great. I used to wonder about that because that's how artists get taken. You make the original, you sell it once, and then everybody trades it, and it's like sold for, like Van Gogh's selling for $7 million now, and he died a poor man without his ear. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense now that you said that. Because since this stuff is all on the blockchain,
Yeah.
it's all tracked, it's all identified. So I just don't know how you actually get the thing, because with crypto, it's kind of like you don't really hold it. It's just an imaginary thing that shows up in your wallet or in your exchange. It's not like truly coins that you hold like gold and silver. So I like a piece of artwork. I that's the part I don't quite have my head wrapped around of. How do you own it? How do you show it to somebody? Like the point of art is to have something beautiful that people admire, not just to hold an asset. So I'm gonna look into it. I haven't had a chance to yet. It's fascinating.
Right. I wanted to actually ask you if we could, do a micro meeting and help me progress on this, because I wanted to work with you about this and figure it out, try to get ahead of beyond the wave instead of underneath it.
Yeah. What I would do, I would go to YouTube and I would just start YouTube searching it and just start watching videos. That's how I learn most anything. If I don't know about it, I'll go and I'll research it that way. It's just about anything. Just, some things you have to be careful. There's people on there that want to know it all, but they don't. So
Yeah.
just take the information and decipher it yourself and just kind of figure it out. But yeah, that's a fascinating realm. The other thing I haven't got my head wrapped around in this is the whole virtual reality 3D worlds. It's like there's a bunch of young gamers that are like, it's like they're buying real estate in this virtual world. And I'm like, what in the hell are they doing?
Yes,
I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're buying real estate, and they're buying countries, and you can live in their country. It's like, and people are like buying in. If you look at ads on YouTube and of course Facebook, because Facebook is pushing it hard, the metaverse. That's what they're trying to get everybody to buy, those glasses and never move out of your bedroom. It's really a little bit sick to me, but hey.
It is. It's the most bizarre thing I have seen in my entire existence, but I get it. It's real. It's coming. It's like the internet.
The kids they interviewed are saying, well, I don't care if it's real or not. I just want to experience it, because the mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, especially in memory. So, like you go to a horror movie and you feel the fear, you're like, ah! So it's the same thing. So, oh my gosh. Anyway.
I know. It's like I was right on the edge when I was when I was growing up. Video games were coming online, or not online. They were coming out. The whole Pac-Man and all that crap. And I had, friends that were just immersed in that. They didn't want to leave their room. They just wanted to play those video games. And I'm like, I wasn't into it. That's good for about 5 minutes with me and I'm done with it. I'm ready to go, catch a fish or something.
Have a real
build
life
something, or-
experience.
yeah. Ready to go out and do something.
Yes, Teresa.
And-
Teresa texted the Matrix is becoming real.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really scary because the real world is getting gnarly like the Matrix. I just read a thing. New York is trying to pass all these laws that are like, oh my God, this is America.
It is an absolutely crazy world that we're living in, and it's going to get a lot crazier.
I was wondering, John, if you have a boat, you're under admiralty law, so you might be able to side skirt the whole thing if you stay at sea.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at my core value, it's freedom. That's why I have a boat.
Me too. Freedom is one of mine.
I will be able to get on there and disappear if need be. But yeah, there's just a lot of interesting stuff going on, and
I'm gonna have to buy a dinghy.
Here's the thing: there's money to be made in it. It's like, when I first saw the internet, it was such a cryptic thing. Nobody understood it. I saw it. I knew. I'm like, holy shit. I could see it like it was in a crystal ball. I could see every business is going to operate. They're going to communicate like this. The ways they're doing things are not efficient. Think about sending a piece of mail to communicate, having to wait 3 days for the other person to get it. And then I see electronic mail, it's instant. I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be the future. I could see it like it was just sitting inside of a crystal ball. But as I was telling people, they were looking at me like I was from Mars. Didn't stop me. I'm like, I know this is where it's going, and that's where I'm going. I'm just trying to tell you, you might want to think about it or get in on it. Well, it was funny. One of our family members was over the other day, and he's kind of one of these guys that does that. He poo-poos everything. And, he doesn't really get to take advantage of a lot of stuff because of that. So somehow we got on the subject of crypto and all the stuff that I was doing with crypto now. And he said the same thing he said about the internet. And it was interesting that he's still on that track. He didn't get to take advantage of any of it. And what I told him, I said, it's the same. It's just like the people that told me the internet was a passing fad, and they're still sitting with their thumb up their asses. They didn't get in on it. I'm like, well, this is kind of the same thing. And he knew he was one of those people. He knew he was the one I was talking about. So kind of stuck a fork in him. But there's a lot of money to be made in the very near future on this stuff. I don't know how at this given moment, but I'm actively looking to figure it out. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I just, I've got as much FOMO as anybody. If there's going to be a lot of money to be made, I want a piece of it, especially if it's easy. So I don't know if any of you guys got in on Dan, whatever his name, Dan Hollingsworth or whatever, in on his plan system. Pretty cool. One of my clients actually bought it, and they wanted me to go through it with them and decipher it. And I did. I went through it with them, helped them set their bots up. And while I was at it, I set my own up. And it's really a cool system. I mean, what he gets for it is, I don't want to say it's way overpriced, because it's not, but it is. The training that we went through, it was probably about 8 hours worth of videos, 6 or 8 hours worth of videos that we went on double speed, cut the time in half, And I would say everything that was pertinent in those videos, I could tell you in about 15 minutes. And so it's, it's one of those, it's a lot of training for a small amount of information, but the information it is incredibly valuable. I will give that to him. He spent a lot of time doing it, researching it, coming up with with how to do it, the right combinations of stuff and all that. But I've kind of played around with it and gone a little bit against the grain of what he said, and still works really well. And in fact, in some cases, maybe better. So cool stuff. If you didn't get in on that, he's probably going to have another one. He's got 2 or 3 different waves of that coming out. So it's, I can say it's expensive, but if you, and here's the other thing about that. This is a different world. This is the business of investing. And if you don't have money to do it, it takes money to do that. And you've got to have money that is not money that you can't afford to lose. When you're in that world, it's got to be your play money,
Because doesn't his course cost like $8,000 or $10,000, and then it's $79 a month, and then you need the $15,000 to buy the 3,000 each bot or something like that, Johnny?
Yeah. You need a sizable amount of money to do it, and it's Teresa says it's risk capital. If you look at yourself, it should be your risk capital portfolio that you're doing in that bucket of your life.
TC is smart like Limbo Land.
But this is her thing. This I'm new to this. I'm very new to the whole investing thing. I got people that I gave money to early on. Like when I was 18 years old, I was giving money to stockbrokers and, people to manage for me.
Wow.
And, every month they'd get a little money. When they made enough money, I'd take some from them, and it pissed them off to no end. I would take some from them, like half, and I'd put it into something else. And then I'd let them double it again. I'd take it away from them again. I'd put it into something else. So over the years, I'm 57 now. So 57 from 18, that's a lot of years of putting money aside to do stuff. And I've, pretty diversified and pretty well set. So, I'm doing this stuff as it's fun. It's play. But it's also becoming fairly lucrative too. So I like that. So,
Good.
yeah. And if you guys don't know, if you don't have that, if this is like new to you, you probably want to get a hold of somebody like Teresa and have her look at, your life, what you're doing, and make sure you end up where you want to end up. Financial.
Thank you for the commercial, John.
I mean, seriously, I've done it. If I would have gone with you at 18, if I knew you then. You're a hell of a lot better looking than my guys. But
wow. That's amazing.
But you really need to have these kind of people in your life. It's like having coaches for your business.
Yep.
You need to leverage other people's experience. That's how you get ahead. In all aspects of your life, you need to leverage other people's experience. They can accelerate your growth. They can accelerate your success. They can accelerate you as a human being. Surround yourself by the people that are ahead of you and let them pull you forward. I'm lazy as shit. That's what I've always done. So.
Can I ask a quick Kartra question?
Sure, absolutely.
If you have a couple of different domains on Kartra, can you have different email addresses? Or can you just set up another email address? I
Okay.
mean, I'm having real difficulty with just the super basic stuff.
Sure, you can do all of that stuff. You can have, I think if are you on the starter plan, the $99 a month plan?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I believe with that plan, I think you can have one domain.
right.
That's included. If you want an additional, they will sell you just an additional
Yeah,
domain.
it's another $10.
Is it okay? So an extra $10 a month. Now in Kartra, you can only have one Kartra email address.
Oh.
But here's the way around it. They have mail integrations where you can set up multiple email addresses using SendGrid, or there's like 3 other mail platforms that you can use. So you can do it that way. And then whenever you go to send out an email or you set up a sequence and the emails are going to go out from that sequence, you just choose that mail provider and then it will come from that email address. So that's the way around it. That's how you do it.
Great. So I've got everything set up Family Wealth Collective in Kartra.
Uh-huh.
But if I had an integration with SendGrid, I could do Teresa Cherry Tax or something like that.
Yes, exactly. And then all the emails that go out just go out through the SendGrid email platform with that email address. And other than that, it's totally seamless. No one would ever know.
Thank you.
So, and I believe you can have as many SendGrid addresses as you want. I think you can set up multiple integrations with SendGrid.
Okay.
And you just name them, and then you just select from the mail platform which email sender you want to use.
Okay. So if you were targeting a different group of people with a different big idea, and you just wanted it to be completely separate from what you do in your day job, you can set up a new URL in Kartra and a new email in SendGrid and be completely separate.
Yes, you could do that. And that might make sense for you in being in your compliancy situation.
Yeah.
That might make a lot of sense for you. For most of you, I would encourage you to stick under one lid and not create a bunch of different email addresses that you've got to check and all that. I have one email address and I do everything under it. And it just keeps my life simple. I know a lot of people, they set up, all these different domains and they set up email under each different one. And now they've got all these different email boxes. And it's just like, really? I like everything simple. I like to simplify shit. So, but in your case, I could see why you would want to do that and why it would be necessary in some cases.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Yeah. Like if you had a totally different audience, let's say you had a Christian audience and you had a Christian domain name, and you had an atheist audience and you had an atheist domain name. Yeah, I wouldn't be intermingling those. But other than that, outside of that, anything that makes sense, like if you have a basic business domain or you have a brand name that's you and everything you do is under there, you don't need a bunch of domains. If the one reason why you would want different domains is if you were going to speak on different platforms and you wanted to be able to send someone to a landing page and make it easy. That is a reason why you want domains. You don't need a hosting account. You don't need a website. All you do is under your main domain, you set up a landing page for that domain, and then you go in and you do domain forwarding. So you can go into the place where you registered the domain and you do what's called domain forwarding, and you put in the URL. So when somebody goes to that domain, they go to that landing page on your main website. Does that make sense? Does everybody follow that?
As long as this is being recorded, I'm all good.
Okay. So you got one website, and then you can have as many pages on a website as you want. You could, and they don't have to relate. They don't have to share the same framework. They don't even have to share the same look and feel. Like a standalone landing page could be just that. It doesn't have to have any navigation on it. It should have your terms and stuff down in the footer. Every one of your pages should have your legal policies and all that stuff and your copyright in the footer. But it doesn't have to navigate to any of the other parts of your site. And then in domain forwarding, you buy a domain, you go in and you do domain forwarding on it, and you just redirect that domain to that landing page. And then that way, when you're on stage or you're doing a webinar or whatever, and you say, go to mycoolstuff.com, they type that in. It's a simple, easy domain, and they go right to that page. And that page name might be yourdomain.com/cool stuff, but you don't want to have them have to type that out.
Yeah.
So you just give them coolstuff.com, and boom, they go right there.
Cool. Thank you.
So Fran, did you have a question there? You're muted too there.
I just have a suggestion on what you're talking about for the help of Teresa, because my website has 17 different products on it, and they're health related, and they so I have bought the domain for each product name,
Okay.
and then I forward it to that product. So when I'm talking about brain function, brain function, they just type, oh, brain function, okay.
Yeah.
They go directly to that product. So it's really easy. Does that make any help at all?
It makes perfect sense. Yes.
Yeah, that's a perfect reason why you would want to buy more domain names, but not to have different email addresses, not to create a bunch of websites, none of that stuff. Just get the domain, use it in marketing, forward it to the landing page. Easy, simple, cheap. So cool stuff. All right. Well, I know some of you have to hop off here. It's noon. I want to say Happy New Year before any of you jump off. I can stay for longer for those that have other questions and all that good stuff, but I do want to wish you all a Happy New Year, and hopefully we'll get in, roll our sleeves up, and make a lot of money in 2022. Regardless of what happens to the economy. If it goes to hell in a handbasket, we're all going to come out shining.
What happens to what? What would you say?
I said, if it all goes to hell in a handbasket, we're going to come out shining.
From your mouth to God's ears and back down on each of us.
Which it just might.
Well said, Allie.
It's looking like it, Johnny. It's game on. It's about to hit the fan out there, folks.
I'm here to play, and I play to win.
I'm sticking with Limbo Land. All aboard.
All right. So any other stuff here?
Happy New Year.
How did you guys all do this year? Ups, downs, sideways? Hung in there?
Yeah, about the same.
I give myself a letter grade of C+.
Okay, cool.
Because we got the website done. I got past the fear factor of emailing out to people and letting them know what I'm doing. And yeah, so it's all good. And then it's a matter of seeing which iron of the fire is going to take off 2022. But with your guidance, Captain, thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to do something new too. I know they've put surveys into Kartra, and I haven't had a chance to play with them yet. So I am going to go in, and probably this week before the new year actually starts, I'm going to go ahead and figure it out, and I'm going to send a survey out. And I would love it if you guys would all participate in the survey, because it's going to be in relation to what you need, what you want in the coming year. And it's going to help me create what I'm going to create for it. You know, you build, this is a lesson to all of you. You want to build products around your base of what they want. There's no better way to increase your value to your community than that. So, and that's what the survey is going to be for. So don't be shy. Please tell me what you want, because I want to make it for you.
Oh, look who's
Hey.
here.
Hey, we haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, Michelle. Oh,
I'm having speaker trouble, so I have to use these darn things, so she can't really hear.
Oh, well.
Here, I'll crack it and she can hear. Ah.
Hi, everyone.
She's a lot
Hi.
better looking than you, Roger. You should bring her on more often.
Hi.
All right. So, but anyway, yeah, back to the survey thing. I would definitely appreciate if you guys would give me your feedback on that. Let me know what you want for the coming year. And if it's within my realm, I will do it. Different stuff, you know, if you want more Kartra, if you want more ACT, if you want more SEO, if you want more crypto, whatever. I'm going to go on the boat more. I'm all in for that. We got to get Tim out here. We got to get him back on the plane.
all of the above.
It's all good stuff. I just need to know where to point the ship.
Texas.
Exactly.
Good.
Texas.
I don't know if I'm going to point the ship toward Texas.
It's a nice round trip. You go down there through the Panama Canal, come back up the other side, up into the Gulf. I'm telling you, man, Galveston, Texas, I'll meet you there.
I love Galveston. In fact,
I love Galveston too.
I've got family that lives in Houston, so or not Houston, Beaumont, which you fly into Houston. It's not too far to Galveston. So,
Well, Johnny, in 2022, you'll help me, up things just a little bit more, and I'll be able to buy that $7.5 million boat I want.
there you go. We'll put yours in Galveston, and then we'll.
Yeah, I have mine in Galveston, and we'll just swap boats every now and then. You come visit me, I'll come visit you.
There you go.
Meet in the Panama Canal and switch.
Well, I'm actually wanting to put one in the Bahamas or the Caribbean somewhere. So we got one on each coast.
So that's what my brother did. He bought a boat in when he was in Florida. I want to say like Tampa. He bought a boat, and like last month he said, "Yeah, I'm going to the Bahamas for the winter." It's like he just hopped on his boat and went.
Well,
Wow.
the cool thing, if you get a big enough boat, and it's way over commitment for most people, but the way you do it is you do it as a business. You got a really big boat, like we're talking 100-foot plus. And the first thing you do is you just put it in a charter company. You let the charter company run the operation. And in the off season, there's a couple of months where they've got off season. That's when you take the boat. So you basically get a toy for 2 months of the year, and it's managed and maintained the rest of the time by the charter company. And they make money with it. They make enough to pay for it. So you get a free toy.
It's like real estate on the high seas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would want the whole crew on there to run it for me, because you see, I don't want to drive
Oh,
the
yeah.
boat. I just want to show up, all right, hang out. I want a chef to cook my food for me and someone to make my cocktails for me.
That's exactly what the
I'll
charter
make your
company
cocktails,
did.
Tim.
Yeah.
Bring it on, girl.
That's
That's
exactly
called
what
a
the charter.
charter.
Yeah, that's exactly what the charter company does. So you just take the last 2 months of the charter, and it's all, the crew's there, the captain's there. You just get to go and enjoy. And you have the ability to tell them or not tell them that you own it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's just I'm so like quiet about everything I do now. I would never tell them that I own it. I'd just come on like I was a guest.
Yeah,
Blow
exactly.
their friggin' minds.
Be a good way to see how they're doing and treating your other guests.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. pretty cool stuff. I mean,
Oh,
there's an example of that that's like out to the hilt is the below deck show. Those are
I
like,
know. I watch that below deck show all the time. That's what's gotten me wanting a boat.
yeah, those are like 150 to 200 foot boats. So those are like awesome. You know how much those charter for a week?
$100 to $400,000 a week.
It's higher than that.
Is it?
Yeah, those big boats like that, I don't think there's anything under 350 a week for a boat like what's on below deck, and upwards of like $750,000 per
where do you
week.
watch Below Deck, you guys?
Bravo.
Yeah, it's on
Bravo?
Bravo.
Bravo. Yeah.
Oh, darn it.
Actually, there's somebody we know that actually was on the first season of Below Deck Med. Kathy, what's the heck's Kathy's name? Last name. I met her through Craig, and it was her and one of her people was actually on that first season of Below Deck Med, because I was sitting here watching it one day. I'm like, oh my God, I know that lady.
Yeah, yeah.
Linda Jones. She's friends with Linda Jones. Some of you guys might know Linda Jones out there.
Well, usually like on the below deck show, they're usually showing like 2 and 3 day charters.
Yeah.
So the people are only on there for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And their tips are like $20,000 for the tip.
Yeah.
So that'll give you an idea,
Well, that's how much I give my barista at Starbucks. That's nothing.
Oh my. Well, it's encouraging to hear all this.
Yeah, it's really, really cool stuff. I mean, it might be a leap of faith for, to do something like that, but it's a business. You look at the numbers. Do the numbers make sense? If you can have a $10 million boat that's paying for itself and making you money, why not? And you get a free toy for a couple months.
I wanted to do that with real estate, and I was going to buy beach property out there in California. And Craig Batley talked me out of it. He said, "Don't buy it out here." He says it'll cost you. It's more of a hassle than it's worth. He says, "Just rent when you want a week out here. Just rent it for a week for me." He says, "Run your real estate somewhere else."
Yeah, he's right when you look at the numbers.
Yeah,
it's all business is all about the numbers. When you get in trouble is when you start doing ego plays.
I know. It's like I'm selling my Dallas properties and buying San Antonio and other markets right now, because I can go multifamily in other markets and put the same money to work and make twice as much money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's like with the crypto stuff, I'm looking at that, like $100,000 will do about 4,400 a month based on what I've got in these bots.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real estate's going to pay that. So that equates out to $1 million in bots being 44,000 a month.
Mm.
So I have $1 million rental house that pays me 4,700 a month, not 44,000 a month.
I went with a different. I switched I switched my real estate model to going not after those large properties. So most of the properties I'll be buying in are $200,000, $300,000 properties that make me $5,000 to $7,000 a year.
Yeah.
But I don't have 20,000 of my money into it. It's all bank money.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, and I make money onto it, like 6 different ways I make money onto it. But that's my investment. That's not something I teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's where, like you said, it's where I have money. I went and put money over there to work where I don't have to look at it.
Yep. That's the whole thing. When you look at retirement is when you hit the point where you don't have to work anymore and the money just comes in. Whether you look at that as residual income or investments or whatever. But
at the rate I'm going, 2 more years, guys, and I'm done. I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
So when I'm John's age, I'm retiring. So you all know.
Tim, you will be bored in 3 months.
Exactly.
We'll see you back.
You think?
No.
Tim will buy another motorcycle. Tim will buy. I mean, you don't know the things Tim will actually go do.
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, I've retired out of everything I didn't like doing.
Yeah.
And now I only do the stuff I like to do. And I don't really need to do anything. but I do what I like to do. You know, like I love to help people in business. I would do that even if I wasn't paid for it. So
Well, I love doing that too. That's probably one of the things I'll keep doing. I mean, but like it's like I'm not going to keep like blog and VideoCon, the big conference. I'm not doing them anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not traveling to speak anymore. I don't have to,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of done with all that stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like someone called me up and says the other day, says, a speaking gig for you in Boston, Massachusetts. I said 1.5 million. I'll do it.
Yeah.
He says 1.5 million. I said, if you're willing to pay me that much money, I'll put up with the headache. But other than that, I'm not going. It's not worth it anymore to go up there
Yeah.
for $20,000. It's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, and you need a private jet to get there, so you don't have to deal with the political and medical tyranny going on.
Oh, I drive. I'm done flying too. Like my Southwest card will be done and paid off, and I'm done with Southwest. I'm going to start using different credit cards, because I don't need Southwest points anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I am not flying anymore.
Yeah, Rich won't fly either.
Yeah, that's like I said, it's going to be a very different world we live in.
John,
here
I
very
think
soon.
need you to sail us to Peru come this April.
To Peru, that'd be a long run.
John, how big is your boat, by the way?
It's 55 feet.
55. Okay.
Yeah. If you measure it, it measures 61, but they call it a 55.
I looked at, I literally, I looked at a 75 footer the other day. So
Yeah. Yeah. They're awesome.
yeah. And 75 footer, I still have to hire a crew to run it. I can't run a 75 footer.
Yeah. I have like running the boat, driving the boat. I have no problem driving, big boats like that. It's the maintenance, the keeping them up. That's where you need.
Yeah.
That's where you need a crew. It's not that hard to drive those boats if you get somebody that shows you how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They're very predictable. They do exactly what they're told. You just need to know how to schmooze it into the slip and out of the slip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, that slip looks awfully small when you're coming up to it.
Oh my God. I was like, oh. Skillful in so many ways, Johnny L. Holy cow.
It's just another thing I've been doing my whole life. So it becomes second nature.
So John, this thing I was doing for Linda, man, it is not as easy as Tim thought it was.
Oh, really? What were you doing for?
I'm trying to reverse engineer my book people under me with Kartra for my podcast. Like if you go to one thing, you can book in and it's automated to run through. So I'm trying to reverse it so people can come and hire or book her on their podcast. And yeah, I've had it set up 4 times and it still didn't work. I'm like, okay, I gotta go fix this again.
Is that you talking about Linda Kay?
Yeah, Linda Kay. So
what are you doing, Tim? I don't follow.
She liked the idea of how I have if you want to be on my podcast, you basically go to a webpage and you apply, and it walks you through the process automatically and puts you on a show with me. Well, she wanted to reverse engineer it so that both her and her mom can get on other people's podcasts. And I'm trying to do it all within Kartra. There's 3 or 4 different tools I use to make it work that she doesn't have all those tools.
Oh,
But that when you add all those tools in, it's a little more expensive to do that.
yeah. It sounds complicated, Timmy.
Tim will make it. I'll make it work. I'm going to find a simplistic way to make it work. That's all.
Yeah. It seems like it'd be easier to do it if they're signing up for your podcast. I don't know how you do it going out the other way.
I know that's the problem. It's like, I feel bad because I wanted to have this thing going for her a month ago.
Tim, what's the thing Craig mentioned a long time ago, that podcast meeting where everybody gets together, all, I forget. It was like, the podcasters convention, and you can sign up for everybody's podcast all at once. They used to do it live, of course, before the fall of the world.
There was a guy that he had at his
Steve Osher.
Steve Osher, that's it,
yeah.
Teresa.
And he did a conference like that where basically you were pitching people who had podcasts. It was a great concept. I'm gonna put it down. So
Yeah.
the one that I don't like is everybody now is they're doing their podcasts at studios. So like all these people who get these big studios, well then they go there on Thursday every week, and you gotta have 15 people come by and come in and out during Thursday to book your podcast. Well, some people have professional studios doing it. Here in Dallas, there's a dozen people who have businesses doing this. And what they do is they find a furniture store that's closed for the day. And they use the furniture store to record their podcast. All right. And then they move on to the next business. Basically, they're burning bridges at business after business after business after business because they're coming in and not paying them anything. They just want to use their space. Well, your store's closed, so I use it for free. And I'm like, you know, and one person actually tried to buy it because I was going to buy a studio and do it. So they're like, no, I like this. I'm making money. Problem is they have a different location every 6 weeks because they can't keep a location.
Interesting.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Hey, John. Hi,
Yeah.
Shanta here. Ali, I put a link for you for a Facebook group for beginners on NFT. It's run by my friend. She's a creative. She's an artist.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I got to get my head wrapped around that one and see where the money lies in that bucket. I know there's got to be, and the whole thing with the metaverse universe, whatever the hell that thing is. My programmer that actually programs SitePop he's got his whole team immersed in that, trying to get a handle on it. They've bought them all those Oculus, goggles, and they're playing with that full force. And I'm like, I just don't think I could put a pair of goggles on and go through life. I don't know.
I hate having to put these on to see through or anything anymore, John.
Yeah, no kidding.
I have to switch when I do my podcast. I have to switch to one so people can see my eyes. And
there
that
you
way
go.
I can see, but I can't wear these all the time. But you can actually almost see my eyes now.
Yeah.
The other pair, you can't see my eyes. So
crazy stuff. Crazy world we live in. All right, guys.
I'm going to buy out. Bye-bye, everybody. Happy New Year.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Anybody else before we wrap up here and get on to the new year?
All righty.
Hope everybody has a great, healthy, happy New Year. And hey, John, if you're going out on the boat for New Year's Eve, let us know.
All right. I don't have anything planned for New Year's Eve. It'll probably be fireworks and the dogs will be going nuts under the rug.
Oh,
And it's probably going to rain. There's a lot of rain in our forecast over the next few weeks. So
yeah, it's been pouring here in LA.
yeah, it's not really.
it's 80 degrees here in Dallas.
Nice.
That's usually what we get to say.
Hey, my sister just told me it was like 0 and 70-mile-an-hour winds in Casper. Woohoo! My God.
All right.
Happy New Year.
All right, guys. Well, look for my survey when I send it out and help me out with that so we can get 2022 off to a bang.
All right. Well, good to see you all. Happy New Year. Say hi to Gwen and say hi to Alice.
All
And
right.
Clark.
Thanks, John. Happy New Year, everyone.
All ashore.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye.